Hey there everybody, this is SXE Blues with somewhat of a pleasant surprise for both you and myself included. That is, I am able to do a review for Doctor Who Series 6, Episode 2, Day of the Moon. After all, I didn't expect that I would be able to, but thankfully the situation has turned around a little bit so that I could. And just a quick shout out of thanks to user RickTheYid89 for trying to help me in the endeavor of being able to watch the episode. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but luckily I was able to watch it by other means. But thank you, big time, man, for just making that effort. Nobody asked you to try to hook that up, and even though it didn't work out, it speaks volumes that you were willing to go that extra mile. So big thanks to you, and let's go ahead and jump right into this review. Let me preface it by saying, for those who have not seen the episode, well, I'm not going to cover every little, minuscule detail, but there are going to be spoilers, and I wouldn't want to ruin it for anyone. If it was looking like I wasn't going to be able to see it, I was very harshly debating with myself, do I want to watch other people's reviews and get an idea of what happened, or just wait? And I think I would have probably, though it would have killed me, I would have waited to not have the story ruined, essentially. But so I just want to throw that warning out there for those of you who haven't seen it. You might want to click off this video and wait till you have, and then come back to it. Because, as I say, spoilers are rampant. So, for those of you sticking with me, the episode opens with the typical refresher, what happened in the previous episode. And we pick up, I believe it's 3 months after the events of the first episode, which, if anyone recalls, ended with the cliffhanger that Amy and the doctor had seen the little girl in the spacesuit, and Amy had shot a gun toward the little girl, and meanwhile the Silents were closing in on Rory and River down in these underground tunnels. And also the big whopper of the Impossible Astronaut, the opening scene where the doctor is seemingly killed. So these are the most notable things to take with us into this second episode. We see Amy running through the desert, like the Utah desert, where they filmed. I don't remember what they credit it as in the episode, but she's got markings on her arms, and she's running for her life from this black Jeep, a couple of vehicles, I think. And it turns out to be Canton who comes out. He's the cat from the first episode. We see him as an extremely old man, and then when they go back to 1969, which is where this is all taking place, they meet his younger self, and he becomes sort of, part of the action. But in a surprise turn, he's seemingly hunting Amy down, and we have a far-off shot where, after she's cornered, we hear a gunshot, and Amy falls to the ground, seemingly killed. Soon thereafter, we have two very similar segments that unfold. River is in a skyscraper in New York City, and to get away from Canton and Canton's men in black, so to speak, she falls backwards out of a 15th story window, or whatever it is, 50th, 15th, I don't know. And we don't see how that that scene ends, but one can guess if you're falling off a skyscraper. And then there's Rory, who's being chased down on a big Hoover Dam type place. Once again, I don't remember what it was referenced as in the episode, but he is covered with markings, as well as River was, and Amy was, and he's cornered and decides not to run any longer. And once again, gunshots. And so, meanwhile, the doctor has been captured, and he's being held in an underground bunker in Area 51. and he's got a full beard now because, like I say, it's I think 3 months that they've been in 1969 at this point, and they are building around him this super impenetrable cell, and I don't remember what the substance was called, something like dark matter, dwarf star something or other. In any case, nothing in the known universe is supposed to be able to get in or out of this cell, this material. And the Canton cat brings the body bags of Amy and Rory, and so Canton closes this cell in on them. And here comes the master stroke from Stephen Moffat, because it was a complete blindside, and it made me gasp out loud with laughter, because apparently while Canton has been seemingly the bad guy for the beginning of the episode, in fact he's working in concert with the Doctor, Amy, and Rory, and they are alive and well after all. And and I love the little great reveal of how the TARDIS is in there with them, with the Doctor tripping over to his side and landing, smack into it with its cloaking shield activated. But they run into the TARDIS, and he asks about River. Canton, I think, says that they couldn't find her body or whatever. And so there's this great moment where they position the TARDIS right under her fall, and the Doctor says, to Amy, get the swimming pool doors ready, or whatever it is. And we see River go into like a swan dive right into the TARDIS and then a splash. So that was mad funny. But so they kind of split up at this point. Amy and Canton go looking for the little girl because she's missing, and they want to figure out what secrets she may hold, and they end up going to this orphanage that seems to have been closed down and is run by a flaky guy who's had his mind completely played around with too many times. Meanwhile, the Doctor is off messing with Apollo 11, and he gets caught, and the President, Nixon, has to come in and get him out of that situation. Amy, while being in the orphanage, she splits off from Canton, who is talking to the crazy, wily old guy who's supposed to be running the place, and there's this really freaky series of moments that unfold where it really didn't feel like Doctor Who to me for a little while there. The lightning and the thunder are going, and she's, it felt like a horror movie, and this kind of calls back to some of the darker, more gothic, horror-esque Fourth Doctor episodes. And so for me personally, it was a little to get used to at first, but as things kept unfolding, and I like how the Doctor implanted everybody with this little thing in their hand that if they press it once they can record, and if the light is blinking, because the silence are forgettable, essentially, you turn away from them and you've forgotten them. And what I want to mention here that I found interesting and immediately made me think of, when Amy sees her hand is blinking and it tells her she's got to get out of the room, she looks up to the ceiling and there are all these silents hanging upside down. Immediately conjured an image in my mind of the episode School Reunion with the 10th Doctor and Sarah Jane, Rose and Mickey, the Krillitanes. How do they find them when they go looking for them in the school? They're all hanging from the ceiling. I find this very interesting because now here we have two alien races that the silence seem to embody, and two alien races subsequently that have wings, and which are the Weeping Angels and the Krillitanes, and both are evolving. Harken back to the rumor about could the silence be the Ood, and the idea that the Ood were evolving. All these little things are interesting to me. But so Amy gets into trouble, and a silence comes face to face with Canton, and Canton tries to find out what the silence purpose is, and he shoots the silence after getting a little information out of him, not much. The Doctor River and Rory get there in the nick of time and find out that Amy, who has at this point found the little girl in the spacesuit, we don't see what unfolds in that few flips of a second, but the little girl gets out of the spacesuit somehow, excuse me, and Amy is missing, and they find her little hand thingamajigger on the floor, blinking red, and with a real-time, what she's saying in the moment, it's broadcasting, and the character development for Rory here, I like how it throws back to the Rory that we see toward the end of Series 5, where he's willing to spend 2,000 years waiting for Amy, the love of his life. And here he's adamant that forget what the Doctor is capable of. I'm going to be the one to save her. I love her, and I'm going to save her. And Rory, I love the character of Rory. He's really grown on me, and the more we see of him, the more he grows on me. And the dynamic between him, the Doctor, and Amy, as the episode unfolds, they start, the little girl is seemingly gone, and the focus is now going to be on what is the spacesuit that's been left behind, and how can we find Amy, because she's missing. And so they're looking at the spacesuit, and there's some interesting talk about the spacesuit, how it begins repairing itself, and how it may be able to move on its own, and how the little girl said, the spaceman was after her, and River poses the question, well, could this have been literal? Could this suit essentially have come after her? And we see that the Apollo 11 is about to take off, and the Doctor mentions how the Silence can manipulate species to do their bidding because they can't do certain things. And so we're building up toward the end of the episode, and there's this really somewhat heart-wrenching moment where Amy starts professing her love, and Rory is hearing this, and the gist of it is that she's saying she wants to profess her love to the Doctor and not Rory. And so the Doctor traces the signal to the Silence, which lead them back underground to the TARDIS-like thing. And he's got this great plan to transpose a recording taken by Canton of one of the Silence, saying, kill us on sight, essentially. And he transposes it over the very first steps on the moon so that all humanity would always remember, and, basically completely screwing the Silence, their whole plans, and there's a shootout, and a great follow-up to that moment where Rory's thinking Amy actually loves the Doctor, and when she was saying this, she kept saying stupid face, and when they go to rescue her, she says, get your stupid face out of here. And it's just a really romantic, awesome moment between those two, and which, after they save the day and they bring River back to her cell, and she's kind of down because the Doctor is not, starting to kind of not remember her, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of strange. But they compound the romantic link between Amy and Rory with the fact that it is Amy and Rory's child. The reason she didn't want to tell Rory was not what everyone thought, that, or at least seemingly, the gist I got from it was that the reason she didn't tell Rory was not because it's the Doctor and her child. It's Amy and Rory's child, but she doesn't know what kind of effects the TARDIS and space and time travel could have on the child. So the Doctor does a scan, and there's no baby. Which brings us to the final penultimate moments of the episode, where we see the little girl, who we are all, we can basically assume this is Amy and Rory's child. And for whatever reason, she suddenly regenerates and explodes into energy and scares the bum off that she, sees. And so as the episode ends, we're left wondering, as the trio goes off on further adventures, what form will this little girl take when they run into her again? And could she be River Song after all? How will that relationship with the Doctor and River unfold? But hands down, great episode. Had me on the edge of my seat, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to review the next episode. It'll have to be taken on a weekly basis, but thanks for tuning in any case, and this is SXE Blues signing off.